So here is my 1988 BT Tribune telephone in the lovely bright red colour, and the Tribune phone was actually featured in one, if not more, British Telecom adverts from the late 80s starring Maureen Lipman. Now Maureen Lipman was a comedian slash actress at that time, and she did quite a lot of British Telecom adverts in the late 80s and early 90s, and they were quite funny really. She played a character in them called BT, which was, like a play on words for BT, or British Telecom. And they were rather amusing, and in fact I'll link in the description below the advert that featured the Tribune, because you might want to see that, it's quite funny. But anyway, the Tribune was rather a basic phone, although it did have some unique features such as last number redial, a secrecy button and earth recall. Of course, being an 80s phone, it's push button, of course. This version's a touch tone model, so it has the star and hash keys. There was an all-pulse version which didn't have those two keys. There was also a version for the hard of hearing which had a slider control here which would adjust the volume of the receiver, and it also had a flickering light, I believe, somewhere up here, which would flicker red, which, for a person that was hard of hearing or partially deaf, would be able to see whether the phone was ringing or not. So that's cool. This version, even though it's touch tone, it is able to dial out in pulse as well, which I will demonstrate. And there's a very old British Telecom logo there as well. That's cool. Very 80s looking, as is the whole phone. It's rather boxy and chunky, isn't it? The Tribune was available in two different ringer types. You could get it in a bell ringer or an electronic tone caller version. This one's a bell ringer version, of course. And it was designed to look like a traditional telephone with the handset resting across the back there. It has its original handset cord and its original line cord with the BT plug attached. By the late 80s, this type of fitting was already in use, and it's still in use today actually. So anyway, here's the handset, and there's the receiver, and there's the microphone. Rather a chunky handset, it's quite nice to hold. Rather crunchy sounding, of course. Things weren't exactly high quality back then, and still aren't really. So it's a hardwired phone, as you can see. No modular connections here. Not that that matters, I just thought I'd point that out. There's the switch hooks, and there's the number card. Fire police ambulance, dial 999, dial 100 for the operator, and there's the space for your telephone number to go. There's the bell tinkle there, which is always nice. So I'll show you the underside. So there's the bell adjustment. As you can see, you can move it between soft and loud. If you push it all the way to the top, that's off. Basically, it's not actually an electrical connection. The bell's not a perfect round shape, it's like tapered at the edges. So as you move the control more towards this side, to the off position, it moves the bell round and reduces the space for the clapper to move. So of course pushing it all the way to off would stop the clapper from moving altogether, because there's no room for it to move about. Rather basic but genius. And there's the adjustment for the touch tone or pulse dialing selection. All the feet are intact. As you can see, it's model 9801AR, made by the company GNA. It's got a 1 Ren value ringer, and as you can see there, 88 was when it was made. There's the British Telecom approval sticker, and there's the Tribune lettering. It says manufactured in the UK for British Telecom. Very 80s Telecom lettering there, and some numbered parts there, showing you what part number the case and handset is. Probably for an engineer to know that, not for the general consumer. But anyway, I'll show you the dialing out in touch tone first. There's the dial tone. So as you can see, that's touch tone. And if I change it to pulse, which I'll need something to do that with, here. Don't know what the camera's looking at the moment. I'm just getting the end of my headphone jack there so I can select the switch because it's quite deep in there, said the actress to the bishop. Anyway, right. So this is pulse. So that's cool, but also, funnily enough, you can still use the star and hash keys and they dial out in tone, as you can hear, so that's cool. So, of course, back in the 80s, not all exchanges were equipped for the digital touch tones, so you still had to have the facility to dial out in pulse. Let's see if I can change this back. There we go. Right, so I will demonstrate it now. Dialing out. There's the dial tone again. There we go. And last number redial. And earth recall. And that restores dial tone, so there you go. I can't show you the secrecy button because you need someone on the other end of the line, but basically it just cuts off the connection to the transmitter or the microphone so you can't hear, so the person on the other end can't hear you talk. It's basically like when you cover the microphone with your hand if you're talking to someone else in the room. So I'll give it a ring for you now and just make sure the ring is on loud. Yep. So here goes. Call home.
Calling home.
So here's what the ringer sounds like, just a single gong. And that's off. So there you go. Quite a nice chime to it really. But anyway, there you are. There's the BT Tribune. I rather like it really. So anyway, thanks for watching and I hope you enjoyed.